And we're live.
I want to talk about Daredevil at some point. Is it too early to get into that?
Okay, so just so you know, like I have 2 eps left.
Oh no!
Oh, you're a failure
So,
as a movie reviewer.
In those
So
2 episodes, the season completely lost me.
That's
So
all right.
I won't spoil anything for you. But
Thank you.
I my issue with Daredevil is that in season 1, to me, it felt raw and gritty and real. It felt like you had one man who, despite being blind, had a lot of gifts and talents that allowed him to beat up multiple normal men in a nighttime scenario. I can suspend my disbelief long enough to believe that. Like, okay, this one super trained man can beat up 5 not trained men, just criminals.
Men who can see.
Yeah, and he's got these sticks and stuff. He's beating them with clubs, and he's beating them senseless. He's not holding back.
He's also
and
strong, right?
And the element of surprise and all that. Yeah. So I had no problem with that. This season, he's literally fighting groups of ninjas with samurai swords. And that's just absurd. That's just beyond my own. I can't hang on anymore.
Yeah.
Once they.
He's a superhero.
And not only that, they try to make out like Hell's Kitchen is its own district. It's like a 10-block region in New York, and the police are so ineffectual in this show. It's embarrassing. The police will be like, they'll respond to an officer down scenario with 3 police cars, and it'll be like 1 fat cop, 1 old cop, and 2 women, and only 1 will have a gun out. It's absurd.
So
basically,
here's the
if,
thing.
like, Superman,
I've been raising my hand for 5 minutes. So when I see 30 samurais, I just assume they're all retarded. That's what, like, my movie training. Like, Kyle's like, yeah, one guy would fight 30 samurais, and I think, oh, but that's how ninjas. I'm sorry, that's how ninjas fight.
Whatever they are.
It's a 1v1 fight, right? With 29 like sort of bad background dancers. And then once that one guy is dismissed, the other one is like, time for me to get my ass kicking. It's funny because I've watched so many incompetent ninjas that I just assume they're all like that SNL skit that probably a few people will know.
But that's not how
I like the point that Kyle made about Hell's Kitchen. Like, they try and build it up, and not just in this series. Every time Hell's Kitchen is mentioned, they make it sound like it's this sprawling, urban decay of crime and corruption, when really it's like if Superman were the superintendent of goodness in New York, then Daredevil would be like the substitute 2nd grade social studies teacher. Like, just every once in a while popping in. Maybe he helps,
like
maybe he doesn't. He's blind. You just let him do his thing. He's been with the school for a while. Give him a break.
10 by 10 is in 100 blocks, or is it like 5 by 2?
I think it's like 10 blocks. That's what I've heard. I don't know. I haven't looked it up, and it's a small area. Like, I was watching it, and I was
only
like,
the kitchen, not the whole house.
I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, Hell's Kitchen is so small that building behind him is not in Hell's Kitchen. I was like, what? But meanwhile, there's a scene where some lawyers are walking around, and one of them says, we work with the finest clientele in all of Hell's Kitchen, and I'm like. Yeah, you work with the finest clientele in a 10-block region. Like it's just
you seem pretty down on they seem pretty down on the geography of the Daredevil.
It's annoying me a lot. Yeah, it's that little thing, but it annoys me a lot. Why do they? I don't know why Hell's Kitchen
has them call it.
They don't need to specify at all. Like he could just call it the neighborhood or where he is. Like. I don't know where Spider-Man patrols. Spider-Man's always just swinging the fuck around. I don't care if he's in Central Park or if he's in Brooklyn. He's just slinging webs and whipping ass.
Hell's Kitchen is 0.84 square miles. It's less than a square mile.
It's how many acres? 570 acres. Like
538.
I used to hunt on a 600-acre property, and you just walk around it.
I think it comes down to just they're attempting to stay as true to the comics, I think, as they can in that regard, because the comics are always like, it's Hell's Kitchen. Meanwhile, in Hell's Kitchen, oh, and by the way, this is Hell's Kitchen. So they always try to make it seem, especially since Marvel comics all exist within the same world. So yeah, Spider-Man's in New York, other people are in New York, and here's little Daredevil and Punisher, and they're kind of over there. So yeah, it's kind of like it's difficult because now the TV shows are trying to do
different criticism. I'm sorry,
mm-hmm.
I thought.
I was just going to say the TV shows are trying to do the same thing the movies are now, where it's all a universe, and so it's sort of like they're giving everyone their little bit of territory. Like, here you go, Daredevil, you can go there. There you go, Jessica Jones. You can walk around there. And so it's sort of like
I don't like
part
the
of it, like the fact that everybody in New York has their own superhero guarding their subdivision. Apparently, like, isn't that already their own kind of bullshit? Where they're like, "Can you believe those Hell's Kitchen assholes? There's a blind guy. Their superhero is a blind guy. I live in Manhattan. We've got Superman. Oh, Spider-Man just swung by. We're good. All those pores, they get the blind bad attorney who doesn't have enough sense to get out of that area and do some real good. It's not nearly as romantic to picture him walking through Hell's Kitchen and feel the cobblestone change to cement under his feet and realize he's gone too far. He has to return to the area that he's safe. Oh, Jesus, I don't know where to put my hand and follow the wall.
I like that he's also just a semi-competent attorney. Like, he's not even the best attorney in Hell's Kitchen. He's just
So do we hate Daredevil here? I'm getting the vibe that everyone hates.
I want to talk about the casting. Does anyone else feel like, as a superhero, Daredevil is kind of fucking normal person? Like, when they take his shirt off and stuff, he's obviously buff, whatever. But dressed, this guy doesn't even stand out, like, on the street.
Kind of coming and going.
I am, well...
Yeah, you're modulating.
I wish Skype would die in a fire. You guys aren't getting me. Fuck.
Kyle, can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, yes.
Okay,
yeah,
everybody else. But,
we tested
Kyle, you had something you were going to launch into it.
I loved the first season of Daredevil. I really did, and I liked probably the first half of the second season. Although there are certain characters that when it switches to them, I hate them. One of them is Daredevil. Okay,
it's not good if it's the main guy, right?
It's not. In the first season, what I loved about the first season was Fisk. Vincent D'Onofrio is incredible. He owns that shit. He is the Kingpin. He's so great. I love every time he's on screen. I'm like, oh, fucking pay attention. It's Vincent. He's gonna do his thing again. He's gonna crush somebody, or he's gonna like smush a skull, or like he's gonna do some devious thing. Let's see what he's gonna do. And then it'll switch to fucking Foggy, who's literally so unattractive that I don't. He's like hard to look at. He's difficult to look at. I would prefer Nobu, who literally is a burn victim. When Nobu's on screen, I'm like, oh, cool, Nobu. He's gonna do some cool shit. But when Foggy's on screen, I'm like, Foggy, you're hard to look at, man. Get a haircut. What the fuck?
The casting
he's awful to look at, and I hate every moment that he's on screen.
Foggy's hard to look at. Can you guys hear me? Foggy's hard to look at,
better now.
And the Predator himself doesn't. Like, Captain America's physically imposing.
You talking about the Punisher? Who's the Predator?
Oh, I'm sorry. Daredevil, I meant to say.
Okay.
Daredevil doesn't even look physically imposing. He looks like a librarian or something to me. Like, with his shirt off, I know he's fit, but I get nothing from him. It bothers me too much.
Taylor could totally whip Daredevil's ass, like 100%. Taylor would manhandle Daredevil. If you stood Taylor next to him, I bet you outweigh him by 40 pounds.
Oh,
he's a little guy. And I don't have an issue with that if he was an actual superhero who could fly or like bend steel. But
Ant-Man.
I don't care.
You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a gun or a lead pipe. I'm going to squat somewhere quiet, not move, with a handful of pennies and just toss them around. And as he follows these weird vibrations, wear them out, then eventually sneak up behind him, throw the pennies a little closer.
If Daredevil was my enemy, I would have that problem solved immediately. Like, don't you want alarms like going off constantly, like super loud, and get all your henchmen wearing earmuffs that like modulate that down? And then, hang on, here's an idea: give them all guns. Like tell them to leave the knives and shit at home. Like,
excuse me,
tonight, guys. Like,
yes, New York State Police. Yes, there's a blind man just going ham in the middle of Hell's Kitchen here. I have no idea what he's doing. He's been screaming about being a daredevil, some sort of rogue vigilante. I'm really upset about it. Can you please send some state troopers over here and get this taken care of? The Hell's Kitchen PD refuses to acknowledge this problem. This blind man is a terror on our society here. He's a bad attorney. His goddamn posters all over the town, tacky, lowering profit value. It's just I don't know.
Yeah, that would be the trick too. I feel like you could call the state police and tell them that asshole's swinging around town, whipping the shit out of people with iron pipes, and they would just lock his crazy ass up.
But the Punisher was cool.
So, the Punisher was really cool. I like that the Punisher, like 2 or 3 times throughout the series, the Punisher has that moment where they're like, "Don't do it, don't do it. If you do it, you'll have gone too far." And he's like, bang!
Yeah.
And just fucking does it. And doing it is literally always blowing somebody's brains out. He's always shooting people.
That's
constantly.
Is it ever really too far, or do they always come around
No,
to see
it's
it?
never too far.
Sometimes it's a little too
enough.
far.
Nah, fuck it, he's good.
12 gauge to the face, point blank, like all kinds of
Barely adequate.
I like the torture this season. I want to say that.
No, the Punisher was great, and what I like most about him is how he's willing to actually do the shit. Right? Daredevil, fucking pussy. Daredevil, just that everything he does is a half.
Well, that's
measure.
his character, though. His character has a moral dilemma. He's a Catholic. He was born. He doesn't want to kill anybody. Like that. If they were to just completely forget the entire source material of Matt Murdock and just have him go out ripping people's heads off, then there'd be no moral. There'd be nothing interesting about the show anymore, because the moral dilemma of his character
is the least interesting part of the whole show.
Well, I disagree. I feel.
I'm not advocating
Elektra.
Like
I think
Elektra's
some
professional movie reviewer.
The least interesting part of
yes, Elektra sucks. Elektra's the worst part. When she's on screen, I hate it too. I'm not advocating that they suddenly make Matt Murdock a killing machine.
Right.
I'm just saying that I'm going to enjoy the Punisher's Netflix series much more than I'm going to enjoy.
John Bernthal is blowing my mind. He is incredible in this season 2. John Bernthal, I had my doubts going in, but my God, he is so good as the Punisher. He's really everything I've wanted from the character, because Thomas Jane was okay in the movies, but the first movie, I guess, it was played by Ray Stevenson in the second one.
I don't count that one.
Yeah, it's kind of just there. It's like they made it, and then for me, I hear what you guys are saying. There's a lot of jokes about the fact that he's blind and everything, but like for me, I like the fact that he isn't some muscle-bound, like insanely fake person. I like the fact that he really is just a normal guy who probably works out fairly often. He doesn't have a superpower per se. He just can hear things well and perceive sound and noise well. And I like the fact that I like superheroes like Batman that are just a guy except he's like the Marvel Batman, except he's not like fucking absurdly rich. Like he has to deal with all of this shit in his personal life.
His superpowers are hard work and determination.
Yeah.
When he gets into a tight spot, he's the guy who won't give up. He'll keep fighting, and he can really take a beating. They keep going back to that he can take a beating. And since we're in the Marvel universe, let's just all pretend that he's a mutant and that he's got some degree of a healing factor, and then maybe it won't seem so absurd.
No, they're not inviting him to the
he just heals
Christmas party. He's not on that level of.
He does have a healing. Like I thought the nurse commented on season 1. Am I making this up?
I think it was just. I think she said something about the fact that he can take a lot of shit. I think he doesn't have any powers per se. He just.
I knew he
can just take.
Are you sure about that, Chiz? Are you 100% sure? Chiz is telling me that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are not in the Marvel universe, are they? He's telling me that it's the same ooze that made the Ninja Turtles, but I think that's bullshit.
So, let me read.
I have not heard that.
Chiz wrote,
if that is true, I would be very entertained.
I would be too.
Turtles.
How could you possibly know something like that? If it's like saying, oh, did you know that the final bullet shot out of Neo's gun was, made out of the same metal that made the One Ring? And it's like, what? Like this is all
because
if
it's canon, if it's been written before, if
but
it's
not
written, then
in
it
the
is
same
so.
reality. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, see, that's my other question. Are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the Marvel universe? Because that was a new one for me. Like I don't think they are. I'm pretty sure you're wrong about that, Chiz. I don't
think it's
just
Marvel. No.
Yeah, fuck you, Chiz, with your silliness. That's not right.
You'll find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the Punisher. I thought that actor did a great job. I didn't know his name offhand. I really enjoyed him in The Walking Dead, and I saw him in something else where he was kind of like a low down, kind of slow-witted criminal. I can't remember the movie or show, but He was recently in Sicario. His name's John Bernthal. He had a smaller role in Sicario. I saw him in that. Yeah, I like him a lot, and I think he's gonna be able to carry that show really well. I love all the imagery at the. I was about to spoil a bit. I won't go any further. Thank you. I trust me. I really appreciate that.
Jesus, right?
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Can I read something to you?
Oh,
read it. I'd love to hear this.
The Turtles' origin contained direct allusions to Daredevil, the traffic accident between a blind man and a truck carrying radioactive ooze, a reference to Daredevil's own story. Indeed, the version was told in the first issue. Splinter sees the canister strike a boy's face. It was not just the same fluid; it was the same, the traffic accident that got Daredevil also hit the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Season 3 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles teaming up with Daredevil and everybody.
And they have a flashback. So here's what they do. They do the flashback, and they show that scene they've already shown a few times where his father finds the boy Matt Murdock all blind, and he's like, I can't see. He's like, you're my boy, and he's holding him. And then the camera pans away now, like it never did before, and it zooms in on that storm drain, and it goes down and snakes down like the camera can't even do, CGI style. And there the turtles are. And it's drip, drip, drip. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Then you get them in there. I would watch that.
I
would rather watch.
I'd much rather watch the Ninja Turtles than Daredevil.
So the name Splinter parried Daredevil's mentor, who was Stick, right? Get it? It's like a short little version of Stick. And the Foot, a clan of evil ninjas who became the Turtles' arch-enemies, likens to Hand, who are mysterious and deadly ninja in Daredevil. So yeah, the whole thing is like a children's parody of Daredevil.
Yeah,
it looks like
really last-second tie-ins right before the meeting that day. I don't know. Call them the Hands. Fuck. I didn't expect this.
I don't care about the hand or the foot or any of that shit in the show. They've really lost me this season with the plot. They need Vincent D'Onofrio in there to be his foil, to be on the other end, because that's what I liked. You went from Matt Murdock, who I felt was a little weak, then back to Fisk, who was strong as fuck, and that was good enough to keep the show going for me. That, and that the fighting was so gritty and so realistic. Like episode 3, when he's like rescuing that boy and he's got the ropes wrapped around his hands, and they have that one long shot. I know there's actually a cut in the middle, but they have a very long shot, and I loved all of that, and I just didn't get that this season.
There actually is a shot just like that in episode 3, though.
There's the stairwell shot.
I actually think it's better than the Cut Man sequence. The reason I think it's better is because it's harder. It's just me. I mean,
there's
just
so many cuts in there. There's like 6 or 7 cuts in that stairwell scene. But
whereas they're doing more shit than just the hallway fight, which was amazing. And I think the episode's called Cut Man. Episode 2, season 1 was amazing. But and I loved it. Trust me, like I was just raving about it. But for me, I actually appreciate the 1 and 3 a little bit better, because I loved how he wrapped a chain around his hand and he started blasting out the lights above him. And
yep, that was cool.
I don't know.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, the chain thing was cool, and I think Daredevil is an imposing figure when you arm him.
Yeah.
But like after we watched the season finale, my girlfriend and I were sitting there and talking about it, and I was kind of saying a lot of the stuff I've been saying now, and I said, "Can you imagine how badass Daredevil would be if he had a fucking gun? Like if you just gave Daredevil a Glock 17." Like he would be incredible, right? Because he's already so good that he's like, flicking those sticks at people and nailing them in the head. Mm-hmm. If he could just point and shoot, he would be.
No way. One guy with his Beats by Dre around his neck turned up too loud, and his whole aim is thrown off, and he's killing kids in buses. No, don't give him a gun. It's nonsense.
Taylor might be right. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Give that guy a gun.
Just said he'd throw the gun.
I forget
Spider-Man's going to get called in.
Yeah. He's so barely blind that I forget. Like, the only thing that his blindness seems to impact is that he can't read books.
The Braille. He can't read lettering on walls. That's about it. But I feel like if they need him to, then he'll be like feeling. He'll have a flashback, and Stick will be like, "Feel deeper, Matt." And he'll be like feeling the ink on the paper or something. Right. Like he's always got a way to like feel or hear or smell his way out of it. I want to see a sense of smell come in more. I want him to have to smell, like find a stinky guy or something. This guy eats garlic all the time. He just reeks, and Matt's walking around like Italian restaurant after Italian restaurant.
No, he's a guy who steals the unlimited breadsticks from Olive Garden. That's the level of terror that he's assigned to.
Next thing you know, he's got 8 broken ribs, a broken arm. He's
I mean, he paid the $8 for the unlimited trio, but god damn it, it's getting ridiculous here. Come on, man. Like, we're going out of business. I'm just another guy. Got a family. So many goddamn breadsticks.
I throws that fucking pipe in his forehead.
Yeah. No, don't bring the gun. No.
So yeah, my impressions from Daredevil this year have been that it could have been better. I hope when Vincent D'Onofrio comes back next year, I'm sure it will be better, because he really is what makes the show for me. And I'm definitely excited about Punisher. Not excited about Elektra, if there is an Elektra, and I don't think there will be. But I'm most excited about Punisher because I love the idea of a superhero who just goes around and shoots people. I mean, I'm already kind of a fan of the Punisher. I like the Punisher comics. I always like the the first Punisher movie. I like that one. So I'm looking forward to seeing that TV show.